Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
And this is Aaron, I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
Welcome back for the normal amount of riveting that you usually get. So like at least 9 out of 10.
A standard riveting.
Yeah, consistent levels of riveting. It's like steel girders in here.
Okay, so I'm about to get in the weeds here, but I just learned something really fascinating.
Oh boy.
Recently. Are you ready? It has directly
No.
to do with steel girders and riveting.
If
Is
you
that synonymous with crotchless panties?
say this, it feels like you're setting up a joke.
No, it does, but no, I'm just going to nerd out really hard for a second.
If it includes jet fuel, I'm going to disconnect you from the Discord
It doesn't even
server.
have Will you stop trying to get us flagged? We are less than 60 seconds into this fucking
You're
cast.
the one that picked 9/11 last week.
I
That's
did
not
not.
me. You did,
that.
actually.
Wait, you're right. I did pick exactly that.
Oh shit, I did.
I didn't pick that as a date. I picked it as a car. But
I didn't say the date.
the thing I want to talk about is the Citicorp Center. You guys ever heard of this? The Citicorp Center?
No.
It's one of when it was built. It was like the 10th tallest building in the world. It's this really fascinating, strange building in Manhattan that looks really bizarre. Now it has a different name, but when it was built, it was famous. Called the Citicorp Center by the Citicorp. I think it was a bank. And what was weird about it is they bought this huge property on the corner in Manhattan, really prime real estate, but they couldn't buy this church. The church refused to sell. And so they went to a negotiating table with the church and they said, the church said, we will let you build a building around us. We will even let you tear our church down and rebuild a new one that will be better, like matching the aesthetic of your building. But you cannot put your building like in contact with our church. So it has to be like a certain height and not in contact with our your building cannot contact ours. So it needs to be like a separate entity. And they said, okay, so they tore down the old church, made way for this project. And so the architect and the engineer sat down and said, okay, so we're going to have to basically like hollow out the bottom 8 stories of this building so it doesn't touch this church we're building functionally underneath the building.
Mm-hmm.
And the architect was like, well, it would be really cool if instead of putting the supports for this building on the corners of the building like you would like a chair, right? Let's put them in the middle, like in the center of each side, which like basically makes the bottom of the building looks like it's supported by 4 T structures.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an enormous building. Like I said, when it was built, 10th tallest building in the world, insane high building. It's like 60 stories tall. Nothing had ever been tried like this before. And so the engineer got to work on it, and he figured out that if you can actually make this work by, instead of doing a standard like X structure of girders or a standard like T structure of girders, use a V structure. And so every load-bearing part of the building was pushing towards the center of each floor, eventually focusing it down on that center pillar. And it became this huge engineering marvel because they built the whole thing like this, and this is a brand new way of doing it. Because of its stability, they put a damper in the top. Now it's dampers are on every building. This is the first major building ever created that wasn't like a bridge that had these mass inertial dampeners on the top, mechanical inertial dampener to stop it from swaying and stuff. So really cool technology, super advanced building. Like everybody patted themselves on the back. They come back later, like 15 years later, and an engineering student, undergraduate student, is doing a report about the building. And they're poring over the engineering specs, and they see something kind of odd. They call the engineer, and they're like, hey, did you guys ever think about winds that come at an angle? So rather than coming and hitting one, just flat side, what happens if the winds come at an angle? Like, oh, no, no big deal. And the engineering student goes, okay, you're the, professional engineer. I believe you, hang up. But they kind of stuck in the engineer's craw. He's like, I don't know. I should probably double check that. And so he goes in and he realizes that the builders that built the building did not account for that. He accounted for it, but the builders did not. And so they put far less rivets connecting all these girders in this V formation than they should have. And according to his math, if the wind hits like 100 kilometers per hour and it comes on side in the corner of this building, the whole thing's going to fall over. And it will be not even close the worst artificial disaster in like in the history of mankind in terms of building. It'll be thousands and thousands of
buildings
people
falling over in the middle of Manhattan is bad.
Yeah, because it will be a domino effect. It's a huge building,
Yeah.
so it'll just push other buildings over and over and over and over and over. And so
I actually did see a special on this.
Oh, you did?
And
Yeah,
years
you did,
ago.
yeah.
When it was happening, they were doing the updates to it to fix it.
Right.
And I remember it was on the news.
what was cool is that they went to go about to fixing it, and they didn't want to cause a panic. So they absolutely informed the city, like they told every authority, but they wanted to keep it safe from the public because they didn't want people to freak out.
Yeah.
And so every night, like they would have a huge team of contractors that would go into one floor of the building, rip off drywall, and put extra rivets in the girders, and then put all the drywall back up. And they would do that like every night. They would go into a room and do that, and it took like 5 months to completely re-rivet the entire building. And they did it without causing a crisis or a panic. No one ever really figured out about it. And then, now it's a safe building and it's there forever. But I just thought that was a really interesting story of rivets. It's functionally what rivet.
Well, hopefully everybody at home enjoyed that.
Literally riveting.
Next week on Parker Reads the Internet, we'll cover more fun, exciting things.
The internet. I didn't read the internet.
It's basically what you did.
The point of the story, the reason why I even saw it, it was from an engineering class talking about like professional responsibility, because when the engineer realized that he was part of this terrible mistake, he knew that if he came forward, he could not only ruin his career, but his engineering firm had his name on it. Like, it would ruin the entire company. Everybody who works for him, all the extended staff, it could turn the whole company over, and that would be it. If he came out and said, we made this terrible mistake, it might kill thousands of people. Who could ever trust his company again? But he decided to do it anyway.
You know what could do that even more so, though? The building falling down.
Yeah, if the building fell down, yeah.
I feel like that would be even worse.
Right.
Than the hypothetical possibility of it falling down.
Of course. But there is a chance that it never does, right? That's the thing. Like, it's possible every...
No, I remember it because they were talking on the news about, like, while they were doing it, there was, like, a hurricane that was, like, projected to hit the coast, like, a few months later.
Yep, but
they're like, we need to finish this, like, right now.
Yeah.
Anyway. Trying so hard not to make several specific jokes, so I'm just going to move right past it. This is me being an adult. Oh, I was just going to say, and meanwhile, I'm not going to do it. We're going to move past it.
Don't do it.
We're good. Are you making the connections? That
I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and we're not going to get canceled. Aaron, I've heard through the grapevine, and the grapevine is a very small grapevine because it was you who told me, that you're at a bit of an existential crisis right now.
Well, hold on. All right, I want to bring something up.
Oh,
Aaron, do you dispute the fact that you told him this? Because we have an opportunity right now to call Parker out as putting words in people's mouths.
He's definitely embellishing what I said, but he's not wrong. He read between the lines really well.
Yeah, because everyone that knows me knows I would never do that to somebody.
Yeah.
I only say verbatim what they say to me. And so I just think we need to rein in Parker sometime.
I'm trying. I'm fucking blood is coming out of my tongue right now. I'm biting it so hard. Ugh.
Okay.
Ugh.
All right. So Aaron, what is your existential crisis that you have?
I don't know what to do with my life right now.
Is that because like Path of Exile is still not done?
Well, so I played, a couple hundred hours of it, the current patch, and I got to a point where I think I'm happy and don't want to play anymore right now. So I wake up like 2 days ago and I'm like, okay, tell my wife to cancel that one, subscription she had and work out. So I worked out. That took an hour of my day. I had about another 14 hours to decide what to do. So I just stared at my computer. And I woke up yesterday and I did the exact same thing. So there's 2 days I've had of staring at a computer. I should probably do something else with my life. I just haven't decided what it is yet.
Is it that you're playing video games, but you're just not like into it? Like you don't have a passion for it?
I'm at the point. I call this kind of like the blah phase. Where
we're just kind of like wandering around doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, which one of these games do I want to play? I'll do that one. I'll play it for 20 minutes. Like, nah, not that one. And then I'll do another one. Like, not that one. And there's nothing that's calling my attention at the moment. And it'll go. But Parker wants it to go sooner rather than later. So he's like, no, we need you out of your crisis by tomorrow for some reason. So,
well, I don't know. I feel like between the three of us, we could probably figure out something like right now that Aaron can do.
So do you just want something productive to do? Do you want something gripping to do? Or do you want to then care about doing something? Like, those are like the three options in my brain. Like, if you're just like, I have time I am wasting, I would like it to not be wasted, you can fill that with, like, you could basically sell your time. Like, jobs is what most people do, obviously, in that situation. But you can do small jobs because you don't want, like, a big commitment. So you're like, hey, I can paint models for people, or I can, do any other hobby-related things with my time. Next up is,
if I thought this was going to last more than a couple of days, then sure, yeah, I could find other things to do. But
now I'm curious. What precedent do you have that makes you feel like this is very momentary? Like
my life.
Okay. What do you mean, like you'll
Parker?
Find
I know this is very alien to you, but you see, things tend to come up in people's lives that they have to take care of. I don't know if you've ever experienced this.
I call those future Parker problems. And future Parker is always ready to deal with those problems.
Yeah.
He is ready and willing. Like future Parker has to go to the DMV at some point, or else I'm not driving legally anymore. But that's a future Parker problem.
Yeah. I don't have any future Aaron problems because all of the shit I have to handle is in a sock. Like, we're talking about I look at my to-do list for the week. For adult problems. Yep. I need to go spray my kitchen for ants. That got put off to tomorrow, so I have something to do tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then on Thursday, I need to schedule my online Blood Bowl game because that's when the new week will drop.
The pairings come out.
Yep. That's it. On my entire to-do adulting list. Mm-hmm. Now I'm having someone.
You don't want to do any like video game stuff.
No, I will, but I'm not driven to do it right now because it's either going to be something that is all encompassing, like I could restart a character in Diablo 4. I could play Last Epic, which is another ARPG. I could download a new video game and get lost for 200 hours in it. But that is a direction, and I'm just not sure if I want a direction or not right now. If that kind of makes sense. So, do I want to go back to Path of Exile? I don't think so right now. And if I don't, then maybe I do pick another direction. But if I pick that direction, once I open a door, I close 7 others. Mm-hmm. Like right now, there's 50 doors in front of me, and they're all unappealing. But if I pick one, that means the other 49 all close, and I'm down that road for a while. So that's just where I'm at. It's just usually a temporary problem that'll fix itself.
I was gonna say that. So do you find that in your life? Like I am always looking for a moment to do any of these things, but of course I'm at that stage of my life, and you're not at that stage in your life. So when you say that it eventually resolves itself, is this something that you just kind of sit in the doldrum? Like if you're at sea and you're becalmed, and all of a sudden just like a wind kind of comes from a direction you didn't anticipate, and you start to go? Or is this something you have to seek out eventually because you just get so miserable with the doldrum you feel like you need to activate? What's the pattern, I guess, is one question.
It normally just resolves itself. Like, I don't have to take specific action.
Okay.
Like, I finished the Drist series yesterday. Just grabbed a book, went into bed, and started reading in bed. And my wife walks in, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Just like, "I'm reading in bed." What am I doing? It's like, noon or something. Pick a random time of day.
Mm-hmm. Being old is what you're doing.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yes. Reading in bed at noon is being old.
Well, then I was being old as fuck.
I just picture you in your like Ebenezer Scrooge pajamas, book.
I mean, I love reading books, so that was all good.
I like books too. I don't read in bed.
Well, she was like, "You need to go sit on a chair." But like, no, just leave me alone. Yeah. I got my pillow stacked up behind me. I'm reading in bed. We're good.
Well, if you're looking for terrible suggestions, I have one for you.
Ooh, hit me with a terrible suggestion.
You can help the store build terrain and or paint it.
Just like cutting out Coke cans?
Well, I have a very specific plan on building the train, and so it's going to be mostly assembly lined, but we just need manpower.
What are you building for?
Age of Sigmar mostly.
Are you guys like? I'm a little confused. I feel like the Geeker usually has a plethora. What about the Age of Sigmar is missing?
The train part.
Yes,
we don't have any AOS train.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like we don't. The store has never really had a fantasy battle game that has been like popular enough to justify us making terrain for it. It's usually been like some people will play a game and then they kind of have their own stuff, or they'll just use the 40k terrain that we have. And so now that we're starting to get some traction on AOS and Old World has come out, so a little bit of interest there as well. Look at making a train. I've made fantasy terrain before. It's actually pretty easy. It's just, you have to do it. And it's hours of work that you can't be in the middle of doing other shit for. So
sounds like our layer of hell, Aaron. Game.
Be more interested in painting some mummies for Judgment in about a week.
Yeah, exactly.
In a week? Why do you have to wait a week?
Probably when the rules come out.
Yeah. And there's nothing stopping the store from printing mummies now. But if we know the next...
when you say the store, you mean me.
Yeah, interchangeable. I mean, we know the next monster coming out's a mummy. You can just find whatever aesthetic you want and print 10 of them, whatever.
I mean, do we even have the rules for the skeletons yet?
There will not be skeletons.
Oh, they lied. Ooh. Well, I need to talk to you when we're not being recorded.
Will not be skeletons in the next month or two. How about that?
Okay.
I don't know that there will never be skeletons.
We're not being recorded.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait. I'm a little confused. Isn't the whole faction just skeletons and mummies? Isn't that? I'm a little confused.
Well, by faction, we're talking about Judgment. And
Judgment! Oh my gosh! Yeah, I don't know why I thought Blood Bowl. I don't know what I was thinking. Blood Bowl.
No.
Yep.
Okay.
There's a new monster being released in Judgment in May,
now
which is a mummy.
Good God! I don't know why I was thinking Blood Bowl.
The store has all the other monsters, but doesn't have any mummies because they didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see. So the fact that you could now roll randomly a mummy means we need some mummies. I'm with you now.
Okay.
Or should probably have some mummies. Yeah. Luckily, they're incredibly easy to paint.
Yeah, kind of. There has been, this is interesting to me, one item on my to-do list since we moved in. I think I've mentioned this before.
To get rid of a tree?
So, no, I wish. So here's my to-do list, right? Monday, Tuesday. Every single day I write what I have to do. And, that's going back the wrong way. And then I cross them out every day when I get, and I just have a list down here that talks about later. And so whenever I don't get something done, but I need to track it, I just keep it on my later section of my to-do list.
Yeah, you just keep applying it to the to-do list.
I just, and next week it just carries over. So there's been one item on my to-do list that has carried over for 6 years.
Wow. That's impressive.
And I rewrite it every single week when I make my new list. It has been landscaping.
Are you excited to do landscaping?
No, but it is being done.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a walkway to our house, and the walkway is like cracked, and there's a huge divot, like where the entire concrete goes down and then back up, and then the porch is cracked and pulling away, or the step is pulling away from the entryway to the house. It looks like shit. And when we bought the house, we had the people pull out some of the pine trees that were on the four corners of the house, but they were huge and overgrown, so we just had them pull it out. So the entire front of our house has no landscaping, and it definitely needs it. But my wife and I couldn't agree on the type of landscaping. She wanted bushes and a tree, and I wanted like colored glass and a drawbridge.
So that is a baller tactic. Just no matter what the significant other wants, disagree, and so nothing gets done.
So
I never considered that's a really, really good plan.
So we couldn't have our concrete taken out and re-put in because we couldn't decide what we were going to do on the other side of the concrete, and we didn't want to ruin it by putting in new concrete and then changing everything up. So for 6 years, landscaping has been week to week. My daughter has a graduation party for 3 hours, May 17th. And my wife decided we needed to have the entire front of our house landscaped by then. and she informs me of this in late April.
This sounds like a pre-wedding, like a 3-hour party requires thousands of dollars of renovation.
Yeah. Okay, so you're with me. Anyway, so we're having it done right now. It's through a friend and a kind of a business that he owns and is starting. So we're probably getting like I'm sure he's making money, but it's a good deal. Anyway, so he ripped out all the concrete. Interestingly enough, he also laid a 200-foot corrugated pipe to take all the water off the front of our house and move it around to the back of our house. So I've got this huge whole yard is just fucked up. But anyway, the water drainage for our house was completely foobar. And so water was piling up next to the house, which is always bad for it. But our 2 large oak trees had their roots, and they were like, oh, we sense water. Let's go that way. So there are like thigh-size roots 40 feet away from where the oak tree trunk is, 2 feet away from my house. And that is what was causing the concrete to be so fucked up. There were actually 3 flat spots on the root where it was pushing up against the concrete. Like it tried to grow up and couldn't and just grew flat, and then the entire root pushed the concrete up.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when he removed all the concrete and goes to clear enough, dirt out of the way so they can put down gravel and make new concrete, he's like, pretty sure we're going to kill your tree if we cut these roots out. So we had to end up reflowing the entire walkway away from where branches, the roots were. Yeah. So it used to be like one big curve from the driveway to the entryway. Now it's a wave. It goes up and then over and up again, avoiding this area where the roots had completely fucked it up earlier. So it's going to be fine. But did not really want to spend $5,000 on re-landscaping the entire house within 4 weeks with no agreement on exactly how we're going to do that. But that's what we're doing right now. And I forget how I got on this topic.
Parker's nosy.
I have perhaps a hot take. I'm coming in hot with a hot take. I think graduation parties are dumb. I've never been to one that I appreciated. I didn't have one myself, and it made my graduation so special. I think they're dumb. What?
Can
anybody honestly defend graduation parties to me? Because as a teacher, I've been invited to many of them, and so I've gone. And I get the party's not for me, it's for the graduate. But having purposely never had one, not for my high school or my 2 college graduations, for either degree, I never had one. What is the point? I'm curious. Or why have one?
I'm pretty sure that our graduation party thing is not unique to our small town, but it's more of a social status thing. Like everyone has one, and we're like, okay, our party will be from 11 to 2. And so someone will go to this person's party from 8 to 11 and have breakfast snacks, and then they'll come to ours from 11 to 2. Someone else's will be 2 to 5. So each individual friend group will plan when they're having parties, which weekend, and then they will all offset them. So it turns into this entire day of partying where you just hop from one house to the next. And people who care about that, which my wife may or may not, always try to make sure that they are keeping up with the Joneses in terms of appearances and what kind of food we're going to have, and it makes me want to fucking blow my brains out. So that's why we're spending $5,000, is because everyone in the small town is going to come over to our house for a graduation stopover.
For a soiree.
Yeah. Yes, something like that.
I think anytime people schedule a party, I think it's very easy to forget the entire purpose behind it, which is you're really just having an excuse to bring people that you care about close for a social event, which is really just enjoying each other's company is really what it's about. And so we've come up with a lot of reasons to have parties to just be an excuse to have that type of event. But anytime you lose sight of the point is to bring people together that want to be together and just enjoy each other's time, I think it loses any interest for me. And so like graduation parties would never really be something I go to. But like I've never been to a graduation party. I've never had a graduation party. That seems completely ridiculous to me. But if you have a group of people that you are inviting because you want to see them, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. But if you're just like, I have to invite everyone in my class and all my teachers for this graduation party, I'm like, that's silly. Like, that makes no sense to me.
I as a person who's been to a lot of them, because I get invited to them pretty constantly, I could tell you that, to me, from the outside looking in, it's more like a rite of passage for a young person, often accompanied by a lot of money generation. Like,
that's the second thing,
yeah, most people bring a fair amount of cash or card, like a gift card kind of stuff, and so the graduate usually comes away with a bit of a haul. The fact that I didn't do it I lost money. Now, I personally lost money. It would have cost my parents, like Aaron, perhaps $5,000. So it's not like it costs nothing. And the argument could be made that if you were willing to participate for $5,000 for your daughter, giving your daughter that $5,000 could have been another way to participate in her transition from one stage of her life to another. The argument could be made, but I have the only party like this I ever did participate in where this argument could have exactly been made, and I went with the party instead of the money because it was offered to me, was my wedding. It was offered to me. They said my parents said every dollar that they would spend on it, they'd be willing to give to me and not spend it on any party. Would I be interested in that? I talked to my wife a lot about it. We decided we wanted the party, and it was exactly for what you said, Brandon. It's because we wanted an excuse for everybody that we cared about.
Yeah, you wanted to bring your family together and celebrate your marriage. Yeah, that's totally different.
We didn't. If we got presents, so much the better. But we didn't care. What we wanted was the party. And so we worked really hard to make the party at the absolute rock bottom dollar, because our priority was the people, not the spectacle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking graduation parties are one of those things that they're always just at somebody's house. They're never really a spectacle, and yet, yeah, they just look like such a. It looks like such a from what I've seen of standard graduation parties, kind of what you're describing, Aaron. It's a lot of people at the party that the graduate doesn't know. Like, the graduate it'd be cool if the graduate knew them all, but it doesn't. That's not always the case. But,
yeah, we're having like the invite everyone party from 11 to 2, and then the family party is from 3 to 6. Like I said, this is just hell month for me from a family perspective. Got to get through this, and then my daughter's got dance recital, her last one ever, last weekend in May. And my wife works for the dance studio, and so she will be literally sleeping an hour a night for that entire week. It is insane. So
why? What is she doing so late and then so early?
She does all of the backstage coordination for the event, and so they rent out the college. And like when she rents the college, she rents out rooms in the college that they can use as dressing rooms and changing rooms backstage. But the teachers of those rooms want the room put back exactly the same way that they left it.
Oh, shit.
And so she'll go in and she'll take pictures of all the rooms, and then she has to coordinate all the backstage volunteers to help with the rooms, like the crosswords and shit that she'll give, coloring books for the little kids.
Oh, wow.
Like 250 students.
Yeah, okay. So this is not just like, this is not a recital for one class. This is a recital for the entire school.
For the entire studio, yeah. So like there's like 500 students at the studio, and this is their end of year recital in May. So yeah, it's a significant endeavor, and she's in charge of everything that's not the actual what the dancers are doing on stage.
Well, she must love it then if she's willing to pour that much time into it.
Sure, let's go with that.
I mean, she might not love the hour of sleep, but she's got to appreciate that, or else, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Something like that it sounds like she put so much time and interest into. She must be excited about it being excellent, right? She must be interested in that, or else why do it, I guess.
We can talk off air.
Okay.
I posted pictures in the podcast channel about my house. Not that it's relevant anymore.
Okay. I've put a lot more hours, and I've lost a lot of sleep this year with my job, getting it ready. But, and my wife has really struggled with it because she's, been like, I don't know why you're sacrificing functionally your health for this. You know, you have lots of colleagues that are not putting forth this much effort. Like, and I was like, two things. One, I really enjoy this. So when I'm up in the middle of the night, I could be playing video games. I would really enjoy that. Or I could be building curriculum and lesson plans. I also enjoy that equally well, if not more. I enjoy building lesson plans more than I enjoy giving lesson plans. Like I really enjoy building them. If my job was just build lesson plans for other people, I think I would probably love that job. So there's that. And the other thing is, I don't like doing. I only whole ass things when it comes to education. I don't half ass anything when it comes to my classroom. And so it would really, it is not. I'm not just interested. Like, I'm insanely motivated to make sure it's excellent. And I'm also not interested in completely cannibalizing my evenings with my family. So this will happen after the girls are in bed, which means I'm doing it in the middle of the night. But and next year it won't be nearly as hard, as this is an investment in the future as well. I'm not planning on doing it again.
Yep.
So I guess what I'm saying is, my wife, after thinking about that statement, she thought about it. She's like, huh, this is her. It was like, if I didn't hate my job right now, would I be willing to do that? And she thought about it. She was like, yeah, like that sounds really interesting. Like, because you want to say out loud, well, it's just your job. You know, don't do that for your job. It's like, but for him, it's not just his job. It's what he loves to do. He really enjoys it. So he happens to be paid for it, but that's not why he's doing it in the middle of the night. So when I hear that kind of thing, about for your wife's point of view, I hope that's what she's experiencing, but maybe not.
I can also appreciate the whole assing.
Yeah. I blame you for the geekery being what it is for the same thing. I think you go into your management of the geekery in the same way. You're like, no, we're going to do this correctly, not in a way that I could get away with. You're like, I'm interested in doing this well.
Not everyone agrees.
Oh, really? They're wrong.
Let me inform you. People are opinionated.
Those people are wrong. Politely, I don't. I think they're wrong.
You should go read our Google reviews sometimes.
Yeah.
It's very clear that the bad reviews we get are very specific people that are just trying to review bomb us. It's very funny.
Yeah.
We banned one guy for spitting on another customer. And then he called us like a week later. He's like, hey, can I get unbanned? I want to come back. And we're like, no, like, you can't come into our store ever again. You spit on somebody. And he's like, so he started review bombing us and making new Google accounts just to give us bad reviews. And his reviews are hysterical because it's like clearly fiction and could never possibly be true. He's like, everyone in the store is just carrying knives and threatening me. And I'm like, what? Like, how could that be your experience at a retail store? Like, that's clearly not true.
When I was at a retail store, the monkey got free and tried to bite off my face.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me at the geekery. I wish maybe people read and care about those things. I hope that's not true. I don't think I've ever once looked at the rating Google at whatever the rating system they use. I don't think I've ever looked at one for a retail store ever.
Yeah, that's actually something that kind of surprised me. Is like, I know like reviews matter to some degree, and because there are people who do a lot of online checking before they do things. But I can't imagine you would go to like, hey, I'm going to go to this specific Target and check its reviews. Like, what? Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. And so it's like, it just blows me away that like, oh, like your Google reviews are going to get knocked down. Like, so, but also I've met store owners who really, really care about their Google status. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. And so it's just crazy to me. Like, I obviously want our numbers to be high. Like, obviously it's better, but like, to what degree? Like, if I have a 4.2 versus a 5.0, like, what does that change in my like day-to-day business? It's probably not very much. Now, obviously, if you got like a 1-star Google rating, that's a problem. But
see, that's the thing. If I typed in, Google Maps and I clicked go and it was the game store, like, I would go to the game store. Like, I don't.
Yeah. And maybe we're old. Maybe that's
that's true.
I mean, we were going to retail stores before online reviews were a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought about that today actually. With I was watching a documentary about integration of schools, and part of the documentary were a lot of video interviews of people who are absolutely against racial integration of schools, and their arguments were they were really, really close to arguments I hear all the time from adults about like technology. About it's very reminiscent of kids these days, right? Kids these days
just refusing to evolve.
Yeah. Kids these days. This will cause the degradation of our society. Being exposed to these kind of things is bad. We have no idea the effects it'll have on their future. Like so many of the arguments sounded exactly like the arguments I hear about technology and the way kids spend time with it, and it makes me go, oh man. I'm and they trap me. Those arguments they entrap me, and I go, ooh, how close? How can I separate myself from this cycle of it's new and therefore reminds me that my time is past and that threatens me? Can I remove myself from this? How dangerous is it really, or is it just not what I know? So it makes me upset.
Do you want to? Because there's a lot of that. Oh, kids have it so easy nowadays. Like they're getting soft or whatever. There's actually one actual example of that I really agree with that nobody recognizes. It seems like anymore, but most of them are complete bullshit. The one that really gets me is nobody knows phone numbers anymore. Like when I was a kid, you had to memorize like 20, 30 phone numbers. You didn't have a speed dial on your phone. Like you would go somewhere, you pick up a landline, you have to manually dial whatever number you needed. And so nowadays it's like, well, if you lost your phone, other than 911, what number do you know? Like maybe your work is usually the only one you might know. Maybe your significant other's direct cell phone number. Like, so it's like, who are you contacting? Like, so if a kid loses their phone and they're just out in the middle of nowhere, it's like you used to have to know your street address and all this stuff you'd have to know off the top of your head. But nobody knows that anymore. It's all saved in your phone.
I will say that at elementary schools, they still do that as part of their curriculums. Like
they make you learn like your home number, or your parents' number.
Yeah, at least one parent number. But now it's cell phone numbers. But yes, they do. My child has memorized my wife's number, and our home address. So they do it. They do it in elementary school. Now, what they don't get to do is right, like you said, after they get their own devices, they don't get a chance to practice it as much as we used to have to do. So it's not something that's fresh in their mind. But younger kids that's still part of curriculums. That is still a priority. So it's not that the word never probably doesn't apply to most people still. However, the ability to practice is a never. Like they don't, after a certain point, it's a never. So yeah. Although, here's a funny, interesting thing that I found in my life. There are still enough things attached to phone numbers that you have to either manually put in or orally tell someone. Like the grocery store, your little account is often attached to your phone number. You know, when you have to log into certain accounts, sometimes they'll ask you for your phone number. So there's still some things that you can
your own number, yes, but like that's what I'm saying is like, but if you don't have your phone, it's worthless. Right. It's like, hey, can you call my phone? Sure, if it's like local to you right now, but like, let's say you lost your phone on the bus, like, okay, well, whoever took your phone's probably not going to answer I'm just saying in general, like kids, like not knowing numbers is the thing I think is potentially like this is potentially a bad thing. But like you said, if they're teaching kids to know specific numbers, that's good. I would say back in the day when I was a kid, you were more likely not to know your own number and more likely to know other people's phone numbers because so seldom would you call your own house other than like your parents' landline. All right, well, let's jump into Mojo World for this week. This week we're doing Kurt Russell movies. All right, well, because I'm so amazing, I won last week, so you guys are going to get to go before me. I think Aaron is first. Yeah, Aaron's first this week.
We're gonna have to go with Tombstone.
Solid choice. That was on my list. There's a lot of good actors in that movie.
Yep.
Did you say no?
Parker.
I said yep.
Oh, I think you said no. It's just one. Kurt Russell. I got so
Kurt
mad.
Russell, it's Billy Bob Thornton.
Last time the movie I'm about to say was on as a possible for our list, I didn't say it, thinking I'm the only one who's seen this. And then You snatched it away from me because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not letting it go this time. Captain Ron. I love that movie so much.
The fact that you didn't think either of us had seen Captain Ron says how much you don't know about us.
Yeah. I thought Captain Ron was a real corner pocket. Like I thought
top
it was
three Kurt Russell movie.
Yeah, it's one of my top 3 comedies of all time. I think it's like Dumb and Dumber, Captain Ron, probably Hot Fuzz. I think those are the 3. You talk about like 3 very different genres and times, but I love those 3 movies.
And none of those make my top list, but for Kurt Russell movies, it's definitely top 3.
Yeah.
Okay. As is tradition, I shall now announce that I'm picking The Thing.
Yep. When will Brandon pick The Thing? He said to himself.
I passed the last time it was available. I gave you guys a break. I guess I'll go with... You guys have actually eaten into my list pretty good so far. I'm going to go with Big Trouble in Little China. All right. Parker, you are up, sir.
As is customary for me, I will pick one of the Guardians movies. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay, as long as we're going customary, I will pick the movie that probably Brandon hasn't seen. It is actually my favorite Kurt Russell movie. I just knew I'd be able to snag it second. Overboard.
I've seen Overboard.
It's on my list. It makes me
so
mad.
many times. Is why I would never pick it. My mom loved that fucking movie. We would watch that movie once a week at least.
I'm not sure how well it holds up now because it's been 25 years since I've seen it. But
kidnapping women is fine, right? That's not a problem. Holding them against their will.
I'm pretty sure.
I remember it being pretty good.
It's widely beloved, I believe.
My third one will be Escape from New York.
So I get a lot of shit because I have never seen Escape to New York all the way through, but I like Escape from LA, even though I know how stupid and campy it is. But like that's part of the reason I like it. It's it's so over the top.
Which one has the hang gliders? That's New York?
That's
right?
2. That's LA.
Is that LA? Okay.
That's LA.
I couldn't remember. Oh yeah, New York has the basketball scene, right? Is that right?
Nope, that's LA.
That's LA? Which one has the... Oh man, am I thinking
No, the first one is very like Warriors. It's very like dark and grim and not super campy. And it's very like dystopian future. The Escape from LA is the super campy one.
Yeah.
All right, you're up, Parker. Do you want Escape from LA? You keep naming scenes.
I'll
pencil it in for you.
Surely. No, I'm going to go with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really like that movie.
Ooh, I would not have guessed that.
You would have guessed that I liked it, or that it would have been on the list?
That it would have made your top 3.
I like the movie.
Wait, who is he in that?
He's the stuntman's friend who gets him a job. He's an assistant director or producer or something for one of the movies. The Bruce Lee movie. He gets involved with it.
He's on the set. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't remember him at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Brad Pitt's friend in the movie, but yeah.
Man, do we just do dueling escape from movies? That would be hilarious.
Do it.
All right, can I beat you with The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China?
No. Doesn't matter what your third pick is. You're going down.
I'm going to choose Hateful Eight. And we'll just finish it with back-to-back Tarantino movies. All right. It's pretty good picks. I have seen all of these except for Escape from New York all the way through. I've seen most of Escape from New York.
I almost went with Tango and Cash or Backdraft for my third one.
Tango Cash is good. Breakdown is a surprisingly good movie I think a lot of people forget about.
I don't know that one.
None of us said Stargate. It makes me kind of sad. I had
a good movie.
I don't. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a better movie than Stargate, but Stargate was a big part of my childhood. Like I was, that was one of the very first movies where I was like, the nerd is the cool one. I remember being like super impressed by that. Like the nerd was was the good guy. There's a bunch of movies where the nerd is the good guy, but I remember that one being an impressive one to me.
I really recommend Breakdown if you haven't ever seen it. The movie is guy and his wife, Kurt Russell, are driving around on vacation. They're driving through the American Southwest. Their car breaks down on the side of the road, and a trucker comes by, offers them a ride into town, and the wife goes with the trucker, and he stays with the car because it was before cell phones, so like they had already signaled somebody to come back for them. They didn't want to just leave, and then the movie goes from there. But basically, weird shit happens from that point on. But it's very fun. All right, cool. All right, Parker, do you want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons?
Do I want to?
Do you want to?
Oh, not particularly. Does anybody want to know about Dungeons and Dragons?
Dungeons and Dragons, dumb.
No, I've actually really been appreciating our game. I don't know if anybody appreciates updates about our game, though.
It is hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. But
you spend half the game asleep and the other half of the game assembling models.
Oh, I really enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what it is about. Well, I know what it is. I'm just getting freaking older. Like after around 10:30, between 10:30 and midnight now, sometimes I just give out. Like it doesn't matter what I do. I just give out, and I'm just now realizing this about myself. I can no longer do the thing I used to do, which is just power through no matter what. Every once in a while, I'll get a second wind and I can keep going, but most of the time now, like just last night,
because I'm looking at it from the outside, I'm observing you while it's happening. Mm-hmm. I can tell you, as soon as you're not in the scene, you go to sleep. Like that's literally what happens every time. And we talk about it while you're asleep at the table because you just fall asleep in your fucking chair. And so that's why I gave you the cryptex that one time. I was like, give it to Parker, and as soon as I handed it to you, you were fully awake. As soon as you set it down, you immediately went to sleep. Like within 30 seconds, you were asleep. I was like, yep. If he's not directly involved in the scene, he goes to sleep immediately.
Yeah. But being bored is something you can do. Like, it's okay to be bored. I don't need to be occupied all the time, but clearly I'm struggling once I get past about 11 o'clock. If I'm not actively engaged, I'm probably falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Video games can't even do it for me anymore. Like, if I'm in a video game, that's not enough interaction. I have to have somebody, like, basically talking to me.
Yeah.
I appreciated that you started the games 30 minutes earlier last time. I was like, yeah, all right. 30 more minutes when I'm sure not to fall asleep.
You fell asleep so early this time. You were asleep for like 3 hours while we were playing.
Yeah,
it hurt. Then you left. Then we played for another hour.
It hurt a lot when I woke up because I laid on my arm very hard. It was terrible.
So what do you remember from the game? You guys did a bunch of shopping and stuff?
I remember we were in the town. We left the town. Uh-huh. We went to...
You went back to your hideout?
We went back to our hideout. And we tried to build stables. And Connor's character started getting massively paranoid. And
he's being hunted by something.
We're all sure he's either being cursed or it's his staff drawing him, making him go crazy.
He does have a cursed staff. Like that's kind of his problem.
Yeah. So we're not sure if it's like the same thing that doomed the last guy who owned the staff, or if this is a new thing, like an actual attack of some kind. And we all tried to figure it out, and we also worked with the cryptex a little bit more, and we had some ideas. None of them really materialized, I remember, and that's when I think I faded. I can't remember. I don't know if we had any combat. Yeah, I don't think I was conscious for any combat. So.
No, I don't think we did any fighting that game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I remember.
Cool. Well, after you went to sleep, they discovered all kinds of cool stuff. Just so you know. Parker, what's your goal in the game right now? What are you trying to do?
We were trying to discover how to be.
Oh no. What? What's your goal?
Oh, I want to resurrect. Not resurrect. I want to create an order of knights in a country that has none. People who do the right thing for no other reason than that it is virtuous. There's no group like this, and that's what I want.
So yeah, immediately after you went to sleep, they discovered a order of knights that is pretty cool.
Don't tell me about this joke.
It's not a joke. Did you check the player folder? There's a whole new document in there that explains everything going on. But anyway, this is your punishment for falling asleep. That you missed out on all these cool things that your character was super interested in. And so when we role playing, he's like, "Well, here's all this cool stuff. Should we wake up Parker and see what he wants to do?" And we were like, "Nah, he'll He'll be fine. We'll just walk right past it. They just kept going. Soldiered on.
Whatever, man. We'll figure it out.
We'll get it on the way back. Hopefully Parker will be awake for that.
Yeah. On the way back.
All right, cool. On the way back. All right. Well, that was our D&D corner. Hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to our rambling this week. Next week, maybe we'll be a little bit more focused on gaming talk. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to Riveting.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.